Christmas wish from Hawaii. Sands of Waikiki shine bright as snow. Send news lamb aloha to brighten up your day. Mele kaliki maka eine. I'm singing you this Christmas wish from Hawaii. Lulu lights are all aglow. Sending you this lamb aloha to brighten up your day. Mele kaliki maka eine. May your days be as bright as the sun at Haleakala, and your nights by the moon at Hanalei. May the spirit of Christmas behind your hearts like Mauna Kea. Mele kaliki maka eine. So I'm singing you this Christmas wish from Hawaii. Wishing you were here or I with you. Sending you this lamb aloha to brighten up your day. Mele kaliki maka eine. May your days be as bright as the sun at Haleakala, and your nights by the moon at Hanalei. May the spirit of Christmas behind your hearts like Mauna Kea. Mele kaliki maka eine. So I'm singing you this Christmas wish from Hawaii. Wishing you were here or I with you. Sending you this lamb aloha to brighten up your day. Mele kaliki maka eine. Sending you this lamb aloha to brighten up your day. Mele kaliki maka eine. Mele kaliki maka eine.
And we're back with the recap show after that win by the Miami Dolphins. I needed to usually play it on Tua Tuesdays. Tua Tuesdays is a show I do every Tuesday where I pay homage to Tua and his Hawaiian heritage. But today, after that game, I needed a little woosah. I needed a little calming air. So I decided to play it from our Hawaiian airline sponsor before we began this recap, because I never thought we would see wins where you feel like you're just ready to explode, where you get done and it's so unfulfilling. But hence, that is what happened again. If you guys don't know me, my name is Barry Cunningham. I do these every single home game. We give away tickets. We do all kinds of things. So I'm going to recap this game. Painful to watch in the second half. Completely unbelievable, painfully to watch that game. So we're going to look at some stats. We're only going to be here for about 10 minutes, 12 minutes. Not going to take your time, but we're going to just go over some of the baseline stats and say what's coming up. So let me see if I got this correct. There we go. All right. So looking at the stats here, 30-15, you can see, hopefully you can see, maybe I should blow that up a little bit so you can see it even better. Okay. Maybe you can see it now better. But 30-15, the Dolphins did not score in the second half. There is no way that you can take this as a good performance in the second half. You got shut out. One of the top offenses in the league prior to Tua being pulled, we still got shut out in the second half, completely shut out. Defense threw the shutout in the first half and then collapsed in the second half until the end of the game. So I don't care how you strike it. This was not a fulfilling win. It looks good on the scoreboard. We'll take it. We'll go to 8-3 in this game. First place in the AFC East with the tiebreaker over Buffalo at this point. but so much work to be done. So let's jump into some of the stats right away. So if you guys can see this, Houston passing made Kyle Allen look good. He went 26 of 39 for 215 with a touchdown and 2 interceptions. Defense played well with that. With McKinley getting one and AVG getting one early in the game to set up a touchdown. Tua Tagovailoa missed that next 300-yard game. I went 22 for 36 for 299 with a 1 touchdown. But most importantly to me, he was sacked 4 times. Those sacks, I believe, all happened in the second half. 4 sacks for 26 yards. Skylar Thompson came in and didn't do anything. It didn't 1 out of 5 for 6 yards. And everyone who was screaming that Skylar was the guy should probably shut up right now. The rushing game, and this is what's most disappointing. Houston had the worst run defense in the entire NFL. The worst. They couldn't run either. Their leading rusher went four carries for 14 yards, but he did score a touchdown. Kyle Allen, the quarterback, 4 carries for 12 yards. On the Dolphins side of the ball, Jeff Wilson, 13 carries for 39 yards. 39. That's it. 39 yards. Myles Gaskin comes in for 6 for 17. Tyreek Hill had 1 for 5, and Skylar had 6 carries. So he ran around 6 times out there and got 5 yards for a total of 26 carries for 66 yards, with the longest run being 10 yards. There is no way to sugarcoat this. The Dolphins went up against the worst defensive team in the league for the run and got 66 yards on 26 attempts. Even if you took Skylar's out of there because he's a quarterback, take his 6 off, they went 20 for 61. Little over 3 yards per carry. That is unacceptable when you're facing the worst rushing defense in the NFL. No excuse. That tells me a couple things. It tells me basically that the offensive line did not push the defensive line whatsoever. A lot of work to be done. A lot of work to be done on this offensive line, especially if Teron Armstead is going to be out with a torn. Hope it's not a torn pec. Hope it's just a pec injury. Hope it's not torn. Between his toe and now this, Dolphins are, if you don't think the Dolphins are in trouble, you're not watching football. Receiving. Akins was that big tight end for Houston Texans. He went for 5 receptions for 61 yards, 1 touchdown. He was targeted 5 times. He caught all 5 passes. Cooks, 5 for 59, 39. He caught all 5 of his passes. So not a bad day for their receiving core, 26 for 215. On the Dolphins, Jaylen Waddle went 5 for 85. On 10 targets, he dropped a couple balls. A couple of them were high. 2 threw them too high, but they were in his hands. He could have caught a couple of those balls, but 5 for 85. Tyreek Hill went 6 for 85 with 9 targets. He missed 3. He dropped 1 as well. Craycraft went 4 for 55, caught all 4 of his targets. Sherfield went 2 for 33. He dropped 3, or 3 of them were badly thrown. Cedric Wilson, 2 for 26. That's where the Dolphins were. Fumbles. Skylar Thompson had a fumble towards the end of the game, and he lost a bad snap. And that's probably from not being able to practice as much, not getting the fluid snaps from the center. Defensively, Landon Roberts had 9 tackles, 8 of them solo. Good job on that. Jalen Phillips went, let's see what that is, 7 tackles, 6 solo, and a sack. Zach Sealer, 6 tackles, 3 solo. Javon Holland, 5 tackles, 4 solo. Jerome Baker, 4 tackles, 3 solo, and a sack. Notice whose name we're not calling here. There's a guy here we spent a lot of money to get here. And where is he? Van Ginkel, Wilkins, Rowe, Kohu, Bradley Chubb. 2 tackles, 1 sack. 2. That's it. Something isn't right with this team, and they need to figure it out real soon. I mean, did Tunstall just beat him? What's the problem? How did he only have 2 tackles? Kyle Allen was back there. He was not the fastest quarterback. He's not the most agile, most mobile guy. And he didn't get to him but that one time. So I don't know what's going on with the Dolphins in terms of that second half. I'm not a doomsayer. I'm not trying to say that the Dolphins are in trouble. I'm not trying to say that they can't beat the 49ers, the Chargers, or the Bills. But what I am saying is that this team, with this second half performance of no points, you cannot disagree with me. There's no way you can disagree with me and say that this team, with no points in the second half, the way they played, can beat any of those 3 teams. It's just not going to happen. So let's go ahead and take a few comments, what you guys have to say. I'd love to have your input here. But Chubb's had 2 forced loose balls, and yet we did not recover either one of them. Correct. Yeah, he's got to play stronger. Maybe Austin Jackson should have stayed on the bench. They did better against Cleveland, a much better rushing defense without him playing. I all week long, Mike McDaniel kept saying how well Austin Jackson was performing. I don't know what happened, because Shell was doing a great job, and to put Austin Jackson, maybe it just disrupted the flow. I'm not really sure. Thomas Carbonell says, once Armstead went out, no protection and no offense. Pedro, thank you. I'm just trying to get through this, and there's a lot of haters that were out there today. Didn't like the fact that we were calling this game honestly as we see it. They just want to be built up, and just no matter what you say, just say the Dolphins are the best ever. I'm not a cheerleader. I call games like I see them. The Dolphins have got to get some offensive linemen in the offseason, because this is ridiculous. Yeah, offseason, there's still, 6 or 7 more weeks to go. Got to figure it out with what we have before we get to the offseason. Unbelievable. Daniel Meehan, you're absolutely right. Never take your foot off the gas pedal. You take your foot off the gas pedal, you're in big, deep trouble. I was going to say a dirty word, but you know what I mean. Hey, Ronald Soriano says, Dolphins give me high blood pressure. This was a game at halftime. We were all ready to kick back and go, start high-fiving each other. Hey, man, this is great. High five. Good. Boom. We're blowing somebody out. And then the second half, we're like, oh, shit. And if you watched the game and saw some of the fans and how they looked, it was just people holding their heads, people just sitting there quiet, not understanding what they were seeing and how this team devolved in the second half. Hillary Clinton says Skyler is an idiot. I wouldn't call him an idiot, but he's not what everybody thought he was. He got exposed, completely exposed. Bruce, you're absolutely right. We cannot play like that next week. I don't care what the fanboys say. You cannot beat the 49ers, the Bills, or maybe even the Chargers playing like you did in the second half. Can't happen. Ray Pursley says, I agree with you. A win, not always a win. O-line sucks and defense not much better. Yeah, it was that kind of day. So let's see what else we can say here. Let me scroll up and get some more comments here. Offense was abysmal in the second half. Yes, it was. I don't know what happened. Well, even when Tua was still in there, they weren't playing well. I mean, I don't know if it was the play calling or was it just the fact that the offensive line completely broke down. Most times I don't do the all 22s. This time I'm going to break down the second half play of the offensive line. I think we need to look deep at the second half play of this offensive line. Wow, Brian, you went there. You're like, Armstead is now exposed as Miami's weak point. Take him out in Miami's offensive fold. Every team in the NFL will know this by the end of the week. Yeah, they might know that. Their attitude was possibly, we got this game. Well, if that's how you feel because you don't have the experience of winning like the Dolphins haven't had, that you don't have the luxury at this level of where you guys are playing to say we got this game and take it easy. Can't do it. You can't sugarcoat crap and make it smell any better. Nope. And every one of those grown-ass men who are going to be watching game films this week are going to have to look at it and be honest with themselves and say, I could have done better. I should have done better. One of the things that we always talk about that's most important is to make sure you protect the quarterback, and you didn't today. You failed at protecting Tua. You failed. And, if the kid gets hurt, we're all just hold our breath every time he goes down. He took a couple hard hits, and that's because the offensive line did not perform. Do you think if what we're missing temps for the next 3 games, Tua will be efficient enough to get us 3 more wins? There was one thing I noticed today that wasn't happening. Past games when the Dolphins have been winning, Tua would get rid of the ball very quickly. He would find his pattern, his receivers, his targets very quickly and get rid of the ball. It seems like it took a little bit longer than normal to find his targets. I don't know if Houston took that away from him, but that may have been something. The offensive line was used to basically shielding for 1, 2, 3 count, and boom, he'd throw the ball, and he didn't do that today. Let's see. What'd you say, Debbie? Could it be the team is tired of hearing how great Tua is for the last 2 weeks? I love Tua, but human nature. No, they know. They know that their fortunes are tied to performance of Tua. They know that their paychecks are tied to Tua's performance. So, no, I don't think that at all. Donnie says it was a loss of Armstead. Charles Scott says you play to the level of your opponent. I hate that, but you could be very right about it. And then Bobby Mosley says, and I agree with this, almost every game has been a tale of 2 halves. Yep, it absolutely has. Even the Baltimore win, when everyone was excited, was a tale of 2 halves. The offense came back hard to win that game. So Randy Higgins says, I don't disagree with the points you make, but I just choose to keep a positive mindset when regarding the truth. I spend too many years being miserable. So if that is a fanboy, no, it's not being negative. You're what you just said is I choose to keep a positive mindset. So in essence, you're saying I'm taking a negative mindset. Not at all. I'm very happy that the Dolphins are 8-3. I take a coach's mindset. I take a player's mindset. And that mindset is positive. Saying that you have work to do, saying that you have to play better, has never been a negative to me. It's never been a negative to anyone I ever played with. Somebody telling me, hey, you did okay today, but guess what? Here's the blocks that you missed. Here's what you should have done. Here's what would happen if you don't do it right the next time. You could cut. That's not negative. That is completely positive. Positive criticism is welcomed by NFL players. No one's going to hang their head and go, oh, you're being mean to me. You don't have a positive mental attitude. That's bullshit. I'm getting paid millions of dollars to block. And it's up to my coaches to bring the tough love. That doesn't mean you're being negative. That means you are being positive. You know what? Do you know what being negative is? Think about it for a second. What's negative between a coach and a player? What's negative between a coach and a player is when they cut you. That's when I don't have any need for you. You suck, and I'm sorry, got to cut you, got to bring somebody else in. That's negative. That's when you have to say, you suck, I can't keep you. As long as a coach is talking to his players and saying, this is what you need to do to get better, that is not being negative. That is 100% positive. I hope you see the difference there. Corey, you're absolutely right. They all did seem to check out mentally after they gained the lead. Scoreboard watching, playtime was over. Yep, somebody checked out. Let's see. I don't know. Somebody said this during the live broadcast too. They didn't want to show what they got coming for next week. They will ball. That's not how you play. See, there's certain things. Maybe he didn't show an end around. Maybe he didn't show a flea flicker. Maybe he didn't show some plays. That's understandable. The blocking and tackling happens no matter who you're playing. So if you're not blocking correctly, if you're not tackling, if you're missing your throws, if you're missing your cues, those are things that you have to work on. It doesn't matter who's coming up next. If I miss a block and the quarterback gets sacked, it doesn't matter who's coming up next. That's just play-by-play performance. I'm not showing, the other team expects me to block. I'm not showing them anything. What I did show them was how you can beat me. And so I need to fix that. Let's see what else we got here. I'm not going to talk about that. How many drops did our receivers have today? Okay, so earlier before you probably checked in, I did that, but I can go back to it real quick here. So let's look at that again. You want to see drops. So right here, we got the receivers, and Jaylen Waddle was 5 receptions, 10 targets. So I won't say he dropped all 5 of those, but 5 incompletions at him. Tyreek had 6 receptions out of 9 targets. So there's 3 misses for whatever reason. Craycraft caught everything. Sherfield caught 2, missed 3 because he had 5 targets. So I hope that answers that for you there. But I can't blame that on the receivers because Tua did throw some really bad balls. Yeah, Joseph, absolutely. I mean, maybe it's a player's mentality or former player's mentality or business person's mentality is that it's not negative. It's not negative at all. Yeah, you'll go in, you'll congratulate the guys. Guys, we got to win. There's nothing bad about taking a win. Now, I need to critique your performance. Now I need to show you how you grade out. You know, every single play is graded out. They'll sit with the offensive line coach and they go, you got a D on that play. Need to fix this. You didn't move your feet. You lost your balance. You didn't, all kinds of different things. So it's not criticism. I think a lot of fans don't understand when you're inside of a huddle and you're inside of a film room, what kind of critiquing goes on to make you better. The Dolphins look like a home team coming off a bye week. We'll get the timing back. I hope so. I really hope so. Yeah, they're going to get, trust me, they're going to get some constructive criticism. If you saw one of my videos last week, or if you saw it anywhere, and you saw where they were winning it, I think it was Cleveland, and Mike McDaniel was talking to Tua, and he's like, just because you did it this week doesn't mean you're going to do it again next week. Here was a coach coaching up his player on the sidelines and said, you did great. Don't understand that. Don't think for a moment that this means you're going to do this next week. Was he being negative or was he coaching up? If you haven't seen that video, go watch where Tua and Mike McDaniel were standing on the sideline and they were talking about, what the performance was. And he goes, there was a couple of things that I might have an issue with. There might be a little thing here or there. He actually says that to him. And then he says, but don't think that what you did today, as well as you did it, is a standard that you're going to do it every single week. So if you didn't see that video, you don't understand how a coach coaches up a player. Hey, Charles, I mean, I would be remiss if I just blew smoke up your ass and lied. I mean, I got to tell you how I see it. That's why I do. If I didn't do that, I wouldn't be doing this at all. This was Randy Peterson says, this is a case of getting a big lead so easy and got complacent and backed off the gas and lost the momentum. It's a fine line between winning and losing in the NFL, and momentum is huge. Salute. That's exactly. I had told one guy that the Houston Texans were done, and what I said was, as long as you don't have a turnover, we did. You don't do this, you don't do that. Penalties, we did. And you let that team come back in, and they take that shot in the arm of momentum, yeah, you could be in serious trouble. Wow, startup thing. Thank you very much. So what I want you guys to do, I may take tomorrow day off. I've been hitting it kind of hard lately. But don't forget, Tua Tuesday. Every Tuesday, I do a show based upon what Tua did during the game here. I break it down. I see what the news is talking about. I bring that out to you. We spend about an hour on Tua Tuesday just talking about Tua's performance. Maybe tomorrow I'll talk about the offensive line, but I want you to join me to a Tuesday. It's a lot of fun. Talk about Hawaii. Talk about the island. A lot of people from Samoa and Hawaii get on and we talk. And so it's real talk, authentic. As I pointed out, I don't know, my head's in a way. That thing right there is a Macau, and inside of it is a Ikaika. It's a warrior. So trying to get more into the island feel and the culture. Talk to you guys probably on Tuesday. Thanks for watching. Fins up. Take a win. We're 8-3.